Hello everyone. Today let us discuss about the entity relationship model. In the last video we already have an overlook into the ER model, relationship model, network model, hierarchical model, etc. Right? So today we'll be having a detailed look into this ER model. In the ER model, a database can be modeled as a collection of entities and the relationship among these entities. So the ER model employs three basic concepts: entity sets, relationship sets, and the attributes. An entity relationship model describes the structure of a database with the help of a diagram which is known as ER diagram or the entity relationship diagram. So the main components of a ER model are the entity sets and the relationship sets. It shows the relationship among the various entity sets. So it expresses the overall logical structure of a database graphically. And we'll be having two types of notations for drawing this ER diagram, for representing this ER diagram, that's Chen's notation and the crow's foot notation. Main components of ER model are entity set and relationship set. Okay, fine. What do you mean by an entity actually? An entity is nothing but a real world object which is distinguishable from other objects. Each entity will be having its own properties and these properties are termed as attributes. And the entities of the same type that share the same properties can be grouped together to form an entity set. Student is an example for an entity. Customer is another example. So all these entities can be defined by some set of attributes. For describing the entity student, we can have the student number, student name, student marks, the course in which the student is studying, etc. as the attributes. And if you're grouping the set of students having the same set of attributes, then we'll be getting the entity set of the students. Okay. So this entity set can be represented using the symbol rectangles in the Chen notation, and in the crow's foot notation also we are using the rectangles, but in the crow's foot notation, also known as IE notation, the rectangle is divided into two parts. In the first part we will be giving the name of the entity set, and in the second part it describes all the attribute names, and among these attributes one of the attribute will be act as a primary key and that attribute will be underlined. Okay, so the rectangle is used for representing the entity set. While drawing the ER diagram, the rectangles usually represents the entity sets. Fine. Relationship is an association among several entities. Relationships of the same type can be grouped together to form a relationship set. A relationship set is a mathematical relation among more than one entities, each taken from entity sets. Okay, consider two entities sets, customer and account, and these two entity sets are associated together with the help of a relationship named as depositor. So the relationships are represented by the diamond shaped box. The name of the relationship depositor is written inside the diamond box. The entities participating in the relationship are connected to it by means of a line. Okay, so the customer and the account is related together or associated together by means of a relationship named as depositor. Okay, an attribute can also be a property of a relationship set. That means we can have attributes for the relationship also. Okay, so if you are having attributes to the relationship, the attributes are usually represented by ellipses. So we can connect the ellipses to the relationship diamond box. Okay. Crow's foot notation also, the diamonds are used for representing the relationship sets. So the entities are represented by means of rectangles and diamond boxes are used for representing the relationship sets. Okay, fine. And to link the entity sets to the relationship sets, lines are used. Okay, if you are having any attributes to a relationship set, it can be represented by means of undivided rectangles, and a dashed line is used for linking these attributes to the relationship set. The date is an example. The date is an attribute of the relationship advisor, so it is connected. This date is represented by means of a rectangle and it is connected by means of a dashed line to the diamond box advisor, right? So we studied entities, entity sets, relationship sets, how we are going to represent this in an ER model, etc. Okay, fine. Now let us move to the attributes. Attributes are the properties used for describing the entities or the relationships. Okay. And the set of permitted values for each attribute can be termed as a domain. That set of possible values that comes under each attribute can be called as a domain. So consider the example, the student entity having the attributes roll number, name and birth date. Attributes are represented by means of ellipses. Every ellipse represents one attribute and it is directly connected to its entity by means of lines. Okay, so the set of values that comes under the attribute roll number defines the domain of the roll number. So in our class we will be having the roll number 1 to 30. So the set of values, possible values are the 1 to 30, right? So that is the domain value of the attribute roll number. Okay, fine. Now let us look into the various types of attributes. We'll be having simple and composite attributes, single valued and multi-valued attributes, derived attributes. Attributes that are not divided into subparts can be called as symbol attributes. For example, roll number. Roll number is a symbol attribute. It is not divided into any subparts, right? And the attributes that can be divided into subparts can be called as composite attributes. For example, the name. The attribute name is can be divided into first name, middle name, last name, etc. Another example, address, street, city, state, right? Again, the street can be divided into street number, street name, apartment number, etc. Okay. Why we are going to have this composite attributes? Using this composite attribute is a good choice if a user wishes to refer to entire attributes on some occasions and to only a component of the attributes on other occasions. So if you want to know the first name only, then we can do that one. And if you want to know the full name, that one is also possible if you are dividing an attribute into subparts. Okay. Now moving to the single valued and multi-valued attributes. Single valued, as the name indicates, these attributes will be having only a single value. So the student ID attribute for a specific student entity refers to only one student ID. So it is a single valued attribute. And the multi-valued attributes are the attributes having a set of value. Can you give me an example? Phone numbers. We might be having different phone numbers, right? So this attribute may have possible to have many values. So it is a multi-valued attribute. Another type of attribute is derived attributes. It is derived from other attributes. It can be computed from other attributes. So the value of the derived attribute is not stored in the database, but it is computed as and when it is required. For example, the attribute age is a derived attribute. It is calculated from the attribute date of birth and the current date. Okay, so the age is a derived attribute. So it is not stored as such in the database. Instead, the date of birth is stored in the database. Okay, so these are the various types of attributes. So now let us look into the symbols used for representing the attributes in the ER diagram. So as we said, we will be having the rectangle box, the entity name on the top, and the other part, the second part can be used for specifying the various attributes. Okay, fine. If the attribute is primary key, then that attribute will be underlined. Okay, fine. Then if it is a single attribute or symbol attribute, we can give it as it is. Look at here, look at the example for the instructor. The date of birth is a symbol attribute. Date of birth is a symbol attribute, right? So we can give it as it is. And in the case of composite attribute, how we are going to represent a composite attribute? The name is going to divided into three parts, right? So these parts need to be specified in the definition. First name, middle name, last name. So this name is divided into three parts. That three parts should be specified like. Make sure that we'll be putting some indentation to represent that it is a composite attribute. Okay. Then we can specify the multi-valued attribute, multi-valued attributes, and the number of values should be can be specified in brackets, square brackets. Then we can specify the derived attribute. Derived attribute, here the age is a derived attribute. Okay. And in the Chen's notation, how we are going to represent that? So these attributes are represented by the ellipses. Composite attributes are represented by ellipses that are connected with another ellipse. For example, the name. The name is represented by an ellipse. Again, the name is connected to two more ellipses, first name and last name. So this is the method for representing the composite attributes. And the multi-valued attributes are represented by double ellipse. Phone number is a multi-valued attribute, and to show that we are using double ellipse. And the derived attributes are depicted by the dashed ellipse. Dashed ellipse. So this is the method for representing the different types of attributes in the Chen's notation. Here two examples are given, the relationship with attributes. So the relationships can be shown as in the diamond box. The customer entity can be described in the rectangles, and the ellipses are used for representing the attributes. Okay, the attribute with underlined is the primary key of the table. And in the first example, here we'll be having composite attributes. The name is a composite attribute, then the phone number is a multi-valued attribute, and age is a derived attribute. The relationships of the same type can be grouped together to form a relationship set. Right, okay, fine. And the degree of the relationship set indicates the number of entities involved in the relationship. So if two entities are involved in a relationship, then the degree is 2 and the relationship is termed as binary. And most of the relationships set in the database system are binary, and the relationships between more than two entity sets are actually rare. Let us consider an example. Customer and account. These two entities are associated with the relationship depositor, or another relationship borrower. Customer and the loan account is rated with the relationship borrower. So we'll be having two entities, the customer and the account entities. Okay, so since we are having two entity sets associated with a relationship, the degree is 2. And if you are going to have three entities associated in the relationship, then it is a ternary relationship. The picture represents the various degree of the relationship. In the leftmost one, only one entity is involved in the relationship, and so it is called as a unary relationship. Example, a staff supervises the staff itself. So it is a unary relationship. It is also called as a recursive relationship. And if two entities are involved in a relationship, then the degree is 2. Example, entity 1 is having a link with entity 2. Customer is associated with the account with the relationship depositor. So it is a relationship with degree 2. And entities of three different types are related to each other, then the relationship can be called as ternary relationship. Entity 1, entity 2 and entity 3 are related together with the help of a relationship, then the relationship can be called as ternary relationship. Okay.